Fire is a blessing and a curse. Its constructive potential is rivaled only by its destructive capabilities. It was once thought that humans were the only creature on Earth to harness this powerful energy to aid in survival. But there's something else out there that's borrowing our techniques to gain a competitive edge in life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's 30 minutes of interesting animal info, shipped directly to your ear canal. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
And today we're talking about a bird that is a harbinger of doom and destruction. But more on that later.
I hope that shipping is free when it's shipped to my ear canals.
It's actually $14.50. It's actually kind of steep.
Yeah, that is it's pretty steep. Considering that it goes from the headphones to the ear canals, is like a really short distance.
It's shipped via like an old-timey frigate, so it takes like a lot of manpower to run.
It's shipped via Pony Express.
Yeah, Wells Fargo wagon.
Did you know the Pony Express only lasted like a couple months?
Yeah, because it's ridiculous.
We talk about it so much, but it was a complete failure, and it only lasted a couple months. Anyway, that's not how this information is getting to you. It's an audio medium. We're going to use the air to create sound waves.
It's actually coming to your brain through the speed of sound and mental processes.
We speak, and by us speaking, put thoughts into your brain. Thoughts about animals.
Yeah. And today we're talking about a bird.
Not just any bird. As usual, it's not just any bird.
But a kite.
Can you imagine if we just did bird? We just did bird. Today we're doing bird.
We're doing birds. Tomorrow we're doing mammal.
Some of them fly. Some don't. That's it. Hollow bones.
That's not it. That's just barely it.
We've been life, death, and taxonomy. No, we're doing the black kite. It's
a bird that has a neat name.
It is a very neat name. Kite is just a cool, and it's a raptor.
Yes.
Which is a neat group of birds.
Yes.
But let's talk about where this thing lives in the taxonomic, I want to say order of things, but order is a part of the taxonomy, so say
you struggle with what to say there a lot.
Yeah, let's taxonomize this thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's in a kingdom. You like it. Oh, darn it, I did it again. You know it. You love it. You're in it. Kingdom Animalia. We need to have t-shirts for this so that I could just read your t-shirt while I'm doing this. The phylum is Chordata. It's a bird. So, class, I'm going to give a little pause here so that you can yell out into your steering wheel,
to the void,
or into your elliptical or treadmill what the answer is for class. That's right, it's aves. The order is Accipitriformes, which we've actually been here relatively recently because of the golden eagle.
Yes.
And the family is Accipitridae, which was also the golden eagle. So we're talking about basically birds of prey, raptors, eagles, hawks. I don't think vultures are an Accipitridae, but I
think they're in their own thing.
Birds that eat meat. The genus is Milvus, and the species is, okay, so it's either migrans or migrans.
Stop, you're giving me a Magron.
Well, Magron James.
Magron James.
That should have been one of my things, but so it is. That is one of my. One of my.
And so it's not too late. You usually think of them after.
Yeah. So Black King Kite is one of my nicknames, like Nat King Cole.
Okay.
And then the Farmer Milvus's avian migraines, Magrons.
Magron.
Because this thing gives farmers migraines.
It probably does, yeah.
So, besides what we now know about it, which is very little, let's talk about what this thing looks like.
Okay.
So kites are medium-sized raptors. Now, I wanted to have a section here where it was like, know the difference between hawks and kites and falcons and eagles. And I could not find just like hard lines drawn in the sand between these groups of birds. It wasn't like, okay, so eagles are always bigger. No, that's not always true. Or falcons are always more agile. That's not true either. Or they have specifically dovetail, like they have swallow kind of like split tails. But that's not true either. So they all just kind of look like fierce birds of prey.
Yeah, well, so there's no obvious difference between a falcon and a hawk and a kite?
Falcons look like falcons you can look at and be like, okay, that's a falcon. They're usually smaller and they have more rounded heads.
Yeah. They've got that kind of like
beaks.
chibi, like Precious Moments face.
Just enormous eyes.
Yes.
Just non-existent noses.
Yeah.
And huge Cabbage Patch cheeks.
And they're only ever in pastel colors.
Yeah, they kind of fade into the background all the time. They have one adorable little hair sticking up like alfalfa. But specifically, it's like kites and hawks. When you look at a picture of the black kite, you're like, nope, that's a hawk. It looks exactly like a hawk. And looks like a lot of eagles, too. So it's just, I have no idea how to classify these things. But ornithologists do. But basically, when you're thinking of a black kite, think of just a red-shouldered hawk. Although it doesn't have red shoulders. It's mostly brown.
Okay.
And it has black outer feathers where it gets its name, the black kite. And its claws are also black, but its legs are yellow. And so are its beak and gape. And the gape is the inside of its mouth. So when it opens up and you look inside, it's bright yellow. It also has a sharp, hooked beak and intense eyes, which are characteristic of being a
bird. That's you had a lot to say about the eyes of the cassowary as well.
Yeah, and the eagle.
Yeah.
They're just intense.
Like Sam Eagle.
Yeah. Did we talk about the eyes of the shoebill?
I don't know, but we should have. I think so.
Because at work, you have that picture of the shoebill that's just like staring at you like Sam Eagle.
Yes, yeah.
And it's very intimidating for a bird that looks so dopey.
Well, it depends on the angle. It looks dopey at certain angles, and then like intimidating and cool at other angles.
So you just got to pick your angles.
Yeah.
The angles are all
life
wrong.
Lesson.
But so they're medium size. They're about the size of hawks. They're not quite as big as most eagles and vultures, but they're bigger than falcons. But how exactly do we know how big they are?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because that brings us to the listener's favorite part of the show, as told to me by listener polls that I find reliable and solid sources.
You do bad science, just saying.
Until proven otherwise, it's the listener's favorite part of the show. Measure Up, the part of the episode where we can convey the animal's size and other dimensions into relatable comparisons in the form of a quiz. And it's also the part of the show that's introduced by you, not Carlos.
The listener.
You, the listener.
I used to introduce it. Used to help.
Did you? Oh, that's true. Yes.
Back when we used to yell.
Much to your chagrin. This week, the episode is introduced. I mean, the episode within an episode is introduced by Ashley and Julia. Julia, you've heard from before. You will recognize the voice
from the end of every one of these episodes.
Yes.
If you haven't heard her voice at the end of the episode, listen to the end of the episode.
Yeah. You get to hear a little blooper at the end. Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
Measure up. Hello.
Had a bit of a Tarzan yell there. It was fierce. Fearsome.
That was very good. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Ashley. Also, hello, Julia. She said hello.
Hello back.
She's still listening probably right now, so hello.
Okay.
Also, hey Calvin, her brother. And everyone else.
Hello to everyone, actually.
All right, let's get right into the wingspan. The black kite wingspan is 150 centimeters, and I forgot to look that up in feet for you. So if you want to do that math. How many black kites go into the length of the world's largest kite?
What qualifies as a kite? Does a parachute count as a kite?
No, I think it has to have no people on it.
Okay.
Here's a hint. The kite was flown at the Kuwait Hala Festival in 2005.
Holla.
Yeah. They said, Hala, here's a giant kite. Or maybe it's not that giant. Maybe it's a low bar for the world's largest kite.
I have no idea how big the world's largest kite would be. I mean, I guess the possibilities are pretty up there. I mean, it's just a piece
all
of
kites.
Literally up there. Go fly a kite. It's just a piece of fabric held up by like rods and blown up there by the wind. So, I mean, it could be as big as like a building.
I think what disqualifies...
Does someone have to hold it? Does it have to be held by one person?
No, I think what disqualifies stuff like
Parachutes?
hot air floats is enclosed air. It's just floating on the breeze.
Yeah, like a hot air balloon. That's
I feel like that qualifies as enclosed air.
But then like a hang glider is basically a kite too.
And with a person on it.
It's got a person on it.
That you can't have a
You also have to have a string. So there we go. I'm going to say this thing is, I don't know, 30 feet across. You said across? You said, what is the...
the length of it. It's like, there's a length and then there's like a width.
Okay, so it's like a big rectangle.
Yeah.
Like a parachute. Well, like modern parachutes. I'm going to say it's 30 feet across. How many centimeters?
150.
30 feet's about 9 meters. You said 150 centimeters.
Mm-hmm. That's 4 feet 11 inches.
Okay. Well, I'm going to still go with the centimeters thing.
Okay.
Because 150 centimeters is 1.5 meters. And so that would put it at exactly 18.
Kites?
18 black kites go into the world's biggest kite. End to end.
I may have done something wrong, or you did. Let's see here.
I'm saying that the kite, the biggest kite, is 9 meters long. You said that the black kite is 150 centimeters, which is 1.5 meters. 1.5 meters times 18 gets you to 9. No, I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
The math is wrong?
No.
Are you sure you don't want to stick with it?
It's 6.
6 across? 6 kites?
6.
Are you sure you don't want to stick with your original answer?
Yeah.
Because the actual answer is 17 black kites.
I keep thinking you're leading me astray with this stick with your original answer thing.
So it's 17 black kites because the world's largest kite is 83 feet across.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And 7 inches.
So I did my math wrong.
Or 25 meters. Yeah. That was interesting.
It was such easy math.
Again, I was doubting myself because you were so sure of something, and I did this with a calculator. And why am I doubting myself? So weight. Let's move on to weight. 106 pounds, or 725.7 grams. How many black kites go into the weight of the food that Knickers, the 3,000-pound giant Australian steer, eats every day? It's a combination of hay and grain.
Knickers.
Yeah.
What is he, the biggest horse?
He's a steer. Cow.
You're right. Steers are not horses. Steers are cows.
Or cattle. Steers are male cattle.
Yeah.
Cows are female cattle. Here's a hint. Knickers became an internet famous last year when a picture of him next to some brown female cows of a different breed went viral.
I have heard of this.
You've seen this steer. He's seen towering over the steer's peers, but like most internet pictures, there's more to the story. He is a breed called a Holstein. He's a male steer, which all steer are, and he's much older than the average steer. Steers are castrated males that are mostly bred for meat, but Knickers grew large quickly and soon became too big to butcher with conventional machines.
That's awful.
So his owners decided to let him escape the plate. Steers are usually slaughtered at around 18 months. At that time, they're about 4 feet at the shoulder and 2,000 pounds. Knickers is 7 years old, though, or now maybe like 8. And he's definitely a large steer, larger than average, But other steers used as oxen have grown to be 3,000 pounds before. He's a big boy, but not a super cow.
What's a super cow?
Well, like, when the picture came out, he's next to
Miniature
cows
cow.
of a different breed.
Yeah.
So they're, like, way smaller than him. He's towering above them. So everyone was like, this cow is the king of cows.
This cow is going to actually eat us all.
It's a steer, not a cow. But, like...
This cattle, this single cattle, this one cat. I don't know what to say.
A coot, a cout.
What?
That's what a cattle singular is. I'm inventing a word.
Good. We
Because
need
there
one.
isn't one. It's annoying. There's no singular for cattle. Anyway, yeah. So, he's a big cow.
A piece of cow.
I mean steer. But he's not super big.
So, what he eats every day?
Yes.
Say 100 pounds. How much did you say that the
100 pounds of hay.
Yeah.
That's a fair guess.
How much did you say the black kite weighs?
1.6 pounds or 725 grams.
1.6 pounds. So we're going to go with 70.
70 kites?
Uh-huh. It's not exact. Maybe I'll go 68 or 65. 65. Final
Okay.
answer.
It's 71.
Is it really?
71.8.
Oh my goodness.
He eats about 115 pounds of hay and grain every day.
Oh, I was close. I mean, I nailed the guess pretty much.
Yeah.
And then I hedged my math too much. Good.
Yeah.
This wasn't that bad.
No.
I feel really bad about the kite thing. My math was definitely way off. But my guess was way off. And it balanced itself out.
Yeah.
For not the first time on this show.
Yeah, that's really weird how that keeps happening.
All right. Are we done?
Yes.
I put 6 million population here just in case you said what the population was based on if the population was a Halley's Comet. How many Halley's Comets go into this population?
I almost did the combined weight of Australians, which that would have helped you with.
A little bit.
I didn't do that.
All right, so let's talk about where the black kite lives. This hawkish thing. It lives in a lot of places. It lives all throughout sub-Saharan Africa, India, Southeast Asia, and Australia. So kind of like this bar, this ribbon from like sub-Saharan Africa all the way across the Indian Ocean.
So they're partial to tropical savannas.
Tropical savannas.
Like savannas that are in the tropic or subtropic zone, I think. That's what it means.
I thought that a savanna was not in the tropic zone.
The savanna in Africa is.
Is that tropical?
I think so.
I thought it was arid or semi-arid.
Well, tropic is just the distance from
The equator?
the equator. There's also tropical rainforests.
The climate is not tropical, but the
Yeah. But
The
tropical rainforests are in the tropical zone.
latitudinal zone.
You can't be a tropical rainforest outside the tropics.
Are there rainforests outside the tropical zone?
No,
We are getting
because
on
they
a
can't be tropics.
tangent.
They can't be tropical rains.
No, we're just regular rainforests, not tropical ones.
Yes.
I'm not talking about the run-of-the-mill tropical ones that are so boring.
I hate them. I hate them so much.
So the kite basically lives everywhere but the Western Hemisphere. So it does not live at all in the in North or South America, but it lives
That's
in
very sad
Asia.
for us. I mean, or very good. We'll find out later.
Yeah, I think we're going to find out it's a little bit on the good side. We've got lots of other raptors and cool-looking birds. So the kite is an opportunistic hunter. It feeds on smaller birds, bats, and rodents. They will also raid the nests of other raptors, including other black kites.
Yikes. Rude.
It is very rude, but a lot of animals cannibalize. So,
They're cannibals.
yeah.
Danimals.
Wow. Ugh. It's makes that pink yogurt really. The black kite will also sometimes try to steal food out of humans' hands in India and Pakistan. There's actually like a manual to avoiding having that happen.
Emmanuel?
Yeah. God with us.
Oh, sweet.
And its only known predator is the Eurasian eagle owl. Didn't know that eagle owl was a thing. Sounds awesome. It's a pretty big owl.
I must see a picture of this.
It looks like your standard, great horned owl. It's not like insane looking, but it's one of the bigger owls in the world.
Yeah.
But
It's your typical owl. It's got the 2 ear tufts. It's like if you think of an owl right now, it's that.
Yeah. Unless you think of the barn owl as your standard
or a burrowing owl. Stop. No, think of the
Even the burrowing owl looks a lot like your standard screech or great horned owl.
burrowing owl has no ear tufts though.
Does it not?
No.
Man, then the FAU mascot is wrong.
We're not the burrowing owls.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not. We're just the owls. We're inspired by burrowing owls to be our best owls, obviously, because they're on campus.
Yeah, we have burrowing owls on campus.
But we're the FAU owls. We're not the FAU burrowing owls. It's too much.
It's too specific?
Yeah, well, it's too long. Yeah.
Well, it's like the Florida Panthers. They're not the
the stadium
Cougars.
is just called FAU Stadium. It's not called the Burrow, which it should be, but it isn't.
It should be called the Burrow, but
Then
then
we're not burrowing owls.
But then you would spell it like Burrough, like it was the Queens or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
But that's all I got.
All right. Are you ready for the majorest of facts in this episode?
Yeah, sure.
Here we
Bring
go.
It on.
So black kites and other small similar birds, which there's another one called the brown hawk, I think.
They're probably indistinguishable.
They live in the savannas of Australia, and they've learned to use fire.
What?
See you next week.
It's unacceptable. We should definitely put an embargo on that. Sanction.
So they don't sanction Australia for their kite. Their kites are too smart.
No, just sanction the kites.
Oh, okay. So they don't use it to cook little mouse stews or make rabbit kebabs, obviously. Instead, they use fire to flush out prey that's escaping from a blaze.
Do they use like a steel wool battery situation?
I'm sure that I do that, yeah.
Flint.
Sterno or stoves. The birds sometimes are called fire kites or fire hawks.
That is so much cooler.
They should be called fire kites.
Oh my goodness. Who dropped the ball on this?
And they will sometimes flock to fires like seagulls flock to a basket of French fries.
Mine?
They're super down with fire. So when a controlled fire is set to clear away dead grass or a natural fire is set by dry conditions, the birds will be attracted to the smoke. As the fire burns, they will swoop down and pick up frantic reptiles and rodents and bugs and stuff.
Oh, so they don't use it. They use it to their advantage,
Yes.
but they don't use it. They don't handle it.
Unlike most things, they go towards fire.
Yeah.
So they've learned that fires make for easy pickings. Not only are they are prey like smoked out of hiding places and stuff, they are also focused on another source of danger, so they don't see this danger bird coming at them very fast.
This firehawk.
Yes.
Oh, I'll never get used to saying that. That's so cool.
But what does a firehawk bird, kite, do
Thunder Firebird.
when there aren't any fires?
The steel wool and battery situation, I assume.
They set their own fires.
What? I was
Yeah,
right.
I was slow rolling it earlier. They do stuff that's more interesting than that.
I was being coy. I knew.
So, of course, you aren't going to catch a hawk rubbing some sticks together like Bear Grylls or whipping out their Zippo lighters. Instead, they don't make their own sources of fire, but they will find sources and bring them to strategic locations. Like when their town has a Frankenstein in it or something like that.
They wave it in front of that Frankenstein's face.
Yes, or Frankenstein's monster, if you're going to be precise. Recent findings have noted that the firehawks grab burning sticks and embers in their beaks and drop them on dry bushes and brush to start new fires. But this is just confirming a phenomenon that Aboriginal tribes have talked about for years.
Captain Cook shows up with his band of prisoners from the UK, and the Aborigines are like, "Don't come here. Everything kills you, and
the
our
birds
birds
set
start
fires."
And Cook is like, "You're crazy."
Yeah. And now in 2015 or whenever this study was done, somebody Western was finally like, "Yep."
It's been 250 years, and yes, birds start fires in this country.
Yeah.
But not just in Australia.
They
all over the place.
were actually using Aboriginal sources to like figure this out. So the Aborigines helped to make this official.
That would be crazy if there was this relationship between the Aborigines and the Black Kites, where they specifically set fires with sticks that the Black Kites could pick up and like create controlled burns, and then like have that like ecological maintenance going. That would have been nuts.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like sky burials.
What?
Like in the Himalayas, rather than because the rock was too hard to bury, the Nepalese it was too hard to bury their dead, so they would leave them out, and the vultures would eat the corpses of their deceased. It's called a sky burial.
Yeah, that's a lot easier to coordinate than like
A burial.
controlled burns with birds.
Still, the Aborigines could tell you. They didn't have words for left or right. They could only tell you directions based on cardinal directions. So it's not to the left of you; it's to the south.
Oh, interesting.
So they just had this. They were one with the land, and so I figured that maybe this would be a cool way for them to. Maybe they did.
I wonder if they did controlled burns. American Indians, before Europeans got there, did controlled burns.
Did they?
Yes.
Ah.
So we got there. And we found pristine forests, and we were like, "This is amazing. The earth here is like perfect in terms of like, there's so many trees, but it turns out like it wasn't being like destroyed by fires because the Aborigines were the Native Americans were burning like dead brush away and stuff like that. Like they were doing it good.
Also, they needed to move through the forest.
That's true. I'm sure there was more practical things than like forest conservation on their minds, like practical everyday things.
I would really like to know if the Aborigines, like, they knew that they started fires, they did need to clear out the underbrush, and there was they could just do it themselves, I suppose. There's no reason to count on the benevolence or malevolence of birds.
So anyway, sometimes they will take an ember from one brush fire and start another, but in other cases they will take embers from cooking fires, campfires that are made by people, and bring that and make a new, like a brush fire.
It seems like they're super not afraid of people.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There could be, you could leave they're not afraid of fire. Like,
yeah, that's true. They are not afraid of fire. But it's like the fact that they'll take food out of your hands. Seals won't even do that.
Seals?
Seagulls.
They will do that, and I've seen it.
Really?
Yeah. They if you're feeding the seals at SeaWorld with fish, if you look away, a seagull will take it from you. Like it will swoop down and you will not be holding a fish anymore. I saw it happen to a little girl like several times. She's trying to feed these seals.
She's not imposing enough.
And sometimes you'll throw it and they'll catch it in midair.
Ooh.
Interception. So, fire marshals, or whatever the Australian equivalent is, probably something cute like flamies or hottie coppers or something like that. I was going to.
Are you being coy, or was that an
accent.
actual thing?
Well, they shorten everything.
The hottie coppers.
Yeah. Flamies.
Crikey, mate. He's a hottie copper.
That's the fire marshal.
Fire marshal.
No, they definitely say hottie coppers.
Oh, it's so good. The The hottie coppers keep the firehawks away.
So fire marshals have seen that some fires will jump rivers and continue past unburned obstructions. So it's most likely that the birds are dropping embers to keep fires going. Unfortunately, this also makes it difficult to organize controlled burns and contain wildfires in Australia, where these birds are doing their thing. So, on the other hand, fires are a fact of life on tropical savannas, and it's nice that something is benefiting from them at least. Where there's scorched earth, there's a happy hawk sitting in a tree somewhere.
Scorched earth, that's the war policy where, like,
Yeah.
you go through and you...
Did we talk about this in the last episode? Or in real life?
I think we just... I think we talked about this offline.
Oh, okay. IRL.
Scorched earth is the... where, like, the Germans pushing into Russia burned everything behind them, and I was like, is that slash and burn? What's the name of this war tactic? No, scorched earth.
Scorched earth is also just when the earth is on fire.
That's got to be really annoying for farmers. Like, you have this whole, I don't know, wheat field, and then suddenly this hawk with a flaming branch comes and drops it in the middle of your field to catch all the varmints that are living in there.
Well, I would imagine that would be harder to burn like fresh plants.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, harder obviously than dry dead plants.
I
but
mean,
still
Samson
not
did it with some really frightened foxes.
Yeah. That's awful too. It's just set a bunch of foxes on fire, release them amongst the Philistines.
Yeah.
Should have grabbed a fire hawk.
Yeah. There might have been some there at the time. Are there? They might be there now. So yeah. But Australian ones are the ones that set fires, so we don't know if
Do they not set fires elsewhere?
they might not have figured it out.
Huh.
I've only heard about it in Australia.
Because they also live in the savannas of Africa,
Yeah,
the Serengeti,
yeah.
where doing that would probably be pretty beneficial. We also might scare out a Cape buffalo, and that will kill you. So.
Not if you're flying. Anyway, that's all I got.
All right, so that was the black kite, the fire-starting bird. So, stay cool. Don't get your feathers ruffled. And definitely don't start random fires like the black kite here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Welcome, LD Taxonomy listeners, to the end of the episode. Thanks for listening all the way to the end. Don't forget, we still have a little stinger and then a blooper. Keep listening. Anyway, don't forget you can listen to us on ldtaxonomy.com, all of your subscription-based podcast apps. Tell your friends. Also, leave us a review on your favorite of those apps. And as always, send us Measure Up intros so that your voice can be in the beginning of the Measure Up segment. Thanks for listening and also engaging. Was that a lizard tail? Or a fish hook?
I just Calvin the crap out of that.
A petrified lizard tail. That's a lot worse.
Is it?
Yeah, here we go. Then fresh lizard tail? Yes.
I don't know. I'm sure.
Here we go.
Fewer nutrients.
I'm doing it. But there's something else out there that's borrowing our techniques to gain a competitive edge in life, death, and taxonomy. It's birds, spoiler alert.
Some kind of bird.